Christina's Ghost, Chapter 3, The Ghost Boy. Chris looked up and down the shore. Here was where the boy had stood, at the joining of the pier to the beach. She was sure of it, yet there were no footprints in the sand. Maybe he was too light to leave prints, but where could he have come from? And where had he gone? She hurried back to the house. A few minutes before, she'd promised herself that she wouldn't even speak to Uncle Ralph again unless he spoke to her first. But this was an emergency. Her uncle was coming down the stairs as she burst in through the front door. "Uncle Ralph," she began, "there's a little boy out there. I mean, there was a little boy, but now he's gone. I'm afraid he's lost." "Christina," Uncle Ralph's voice was calm, as if he'd made up his mind to keep it that way. "I happen to know that there isn't another house on this side of the lake, and there are no paths, nothing but the road we followed in from the highway." He looked at her sternly. "It's all right to make believe, as long as you know what's true and what's not." Chris clenched her fist. She knew the difference between truth and make believe. "I saw him. I did. Maybe he was a ghost." Uncle Ralph sighed. "Come into the study, Christina," he said. "We're going to have a little talk." Feet dragging, Chris went with him. A ghost, she thought. Why had she said that? It was a silly idea, and just the kind of thing Uncle Ralph would expect of her. Her uncle sat down behind the big desk and motioned her to sit in the chair across from him. It was like being called into the principal's office when you're in trouble at school. "Now, Christina," he even sounded like a principal, "I know you don't want to be here with me. You realize I'm not exactly thrilled with this situation either. I'm not used to having a child around." "I'm 10 years old," Chris interrupted, "and there's a little child out there. He must be lost." "Still, we both have to make the best of it," he went on. "We have to get along until Ma, your grandmother, is home from the hospital, which I surely hope will be soon. When that happens, you will go back to the farm and keep her company." Chris tried not to look impatient. She wanted to go outside and search for the boy. "I know you think I'm a stuffy old bird," Uncle Ralph said. "You may be right, but I'm the way I am. I don't like roughnecks, boys or girls. I think I like things quiet and orderly. I've decided that if we're going to keep from driving each other crazy, we'll have to be pretty independent. Do you know what that means?" Chris nodded. "I can take care of myself. I like to take care of myself." Uncle Ralph forced a smile. "Well then, that's fine," he said. "I have work to do this summer, research and writing. So I'll be spending most of the time here, in this room. You can just explore and have a great time by yourself. I'll be here if you need me," he added. It was clear that he hoped she wouldn't need him, ever. Chris stood up. Darkness had curtained the windows. "Of course we'll eat together," Uncle Ralph said. He looked at Chris anxiously. "You don't have a sensitive stomach, do you? I mean, besides getting carsick, I'm really not much of a cook." "I eat anything," Chris told him. "Good." He seemed to be trying to be friendly now that they'd had their little talk. "I'll be in frequent touch with the hospital in Rochester. As soon as your grandmother's ready for company, we'll drive down to see her." "Fine. Then everything's clear?" "Sure." It seemed to Chris that Uncle Ralph's desk was about a mile wide. Over there, on the other side, was a calm, neat world where people did the right thing without even thinking about it. Uncle Ralph belonged there, and Aunt Grace. Jenny belonged there too, but not Chris. She belonged on this side of the desk, where unexpected things happen, adventures, mysteries, maybe even ghosts. "See you later," she said so cheerfully that Uncle Ralph raised an eyebrow. She darted through the dining room and to the foyer and out the front door. Night had closed in. Beyond the dark lawn, the beginnings of the moon path stretched across the lake. "Darn it," Chris thought. I'm too late." But her disappointment lasted only a moment. She would see the little boy again. She would. If he were real, she'd solve the mystery of where he'd come from. If he were a ghost? Ooh, she shivered, not believing. If he were a ghost, that might be the scariest thing that had ever happened to Christina Joan Cooper. She wondered, could she bear it?